All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It is now 12 noon Eastern time, so we're going to go ahead and get started. To those of you who are attending, thank you so much for being here. And those of you who are watching the recording, thank you as well. We appreciate everybody's time and enthusiasm for Girls Health Ed. For those of you who don't already know me, my name is Pavita Singh. I'm the Executive Director of Girls Health Ed, and I have to apologize severely. I am severely under the weather right now, so that's why my voice might be a little bit off. But in any case, I'm super excited to be here for Girls Health Ed's second annual virtual end of the year ceremony. For those of you who are not as familiar with Girls Health Ed, we are an international NGO whose mission is to advance gender equality by fostering healthy, informed, and empowered decision-making in adolescent girls and young women, particularly those from low-income, underserved communities where they're unlikely to receive the type of information and programs that we offer either at home or at school. And the way that we go about achieving this mission is by providing medically accurate, gender transformative, and intersectional comprehensive health and sexuality education in schools and community centers, both in the US and internationally. Within the US, we're currently active in New York, DC, LA, New Orleans, and our newest chapter as of this year is Miami. And then internationally, we're active in Kenya with plans to expand to other geographies as well. So at Girls Health Ed, we're operating under a few key premises. So the first is that we believe that adolescent girls are the most powerful human beings on the planet. If we empower them with or rather, if we help them realize their own power to take care of themselves and love themselves, then they can go on to achieve great things in all areas of their lives. So our theory of change is based on this idea that during puberty, during adolescence, which I'm sure we all remember is an incredibly awkward time, everybody experiences a drop in confidence. But what we find is that by the time they reach young adulthood, young men are more likely to get that confidence back, whereas young women are not. And this leads to a gender confidence gap throughout the lifespan, which then spills over into all areas of life, including education and workforce and even life at home. So Girls Health Ed's theory of change is based on this idea that if we intervene at a critical period of development, namely adolescence, and equip girls and young women with the tools to take care of themselves in body, mind, and spirit, then we are able to close this gender confidence gap. And comprehensive sexuality education is what we see as the critical way of doing that. And when we say comprehensive sexuality education, we're not just referring to sexual health or even just sexual and reproductive health and rights. We're referring to the whole range of health and well-being, and that includes nutrition and physical activity. It includes mental health. It includes our intimate and interpersonal relationships. It includes school bullying. It includes the way that we see ourselves as living, thriving beings. And so comprehensive sexuality education is very all-encompassing. It must be intersectional, it must be holistic. And essentially, when girls are given these skills, we see comprehensive sexuality education as a way to close the gender confidence gap, because over the long term, what we find is that comprehensive sexuality education not only improves physical and even mental health outcomes, it also has effects on self-esteem and well-being. And over the long term, girls and young women are equipped with the tools to change social and cultural norms that perpetuate gender inequality, which I'll be talking a little bit more about in a little bit. But before I go into all of that and introduce our incredible teaching fellows and our interns and school and community center partners who have been such an incredible part of our year, I would like to introduce our esteemed keynote speaker, who I'm very excited to hear about. So we'll be hearing first from Mr. Sylvain Segui, who is an associate program specialist at UNESCO with over 5 years of experience working on qualitative research, program management, and high-level conference management in areas pertaining to education for health and well-being, sexual and reproductive health and rights, education for sustainable development, gender equality, and human rights. He holds an MPhil in politics and international studies from the Sorbonne, and MA in EU International Relations and Diplomacy Studies from College of Europe in Belgium. He remains deeply devoted to the causes surrounding gender equality, diversity, and LGBTQ+ rights. Sylvain, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Pavita. I hope that you can all hear me well.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you so much. Dear colleagues and partners, greetings from Paris, France. It's a true pleasure to be with you on this call. So on behalf of UNESCO Headquarters Section for Health and Education, I would like to really thank you for this warm invitation. My name is, as Pavita said, Sylvain Segui, and I'm Associate Program Specialist in the Health and Education team at UNESCO Headquarters in Paris. And I'm truly delighted to be with you today for this GHE year-end ceremony. At UNESCO, I can assure you that we greatly admire all the work that Girls Health Ed and its partner school communities in the United States, Kenya, and elsewhere are doing to ensure that all adolescent girls and young women have access to quality education, and in particular to comprehensive sexuality and health education. I would also like to congratulate today all the GHE teacher fellows who are with us today for the vital work that you do every day in your schools to inspire and educate adolescent girls and young women so that they can acquire the knowledge and tools to make healthy and informed decisions throughout their lives. So, sorry. When we look at the data available on adolescent girls SRHR, all the work that you do every day to help communities close the gender gap in all its forms seems more necessary than ever. Today, we still live in a world where at least 10 million unintended pregnancies occur each year among adolescent girls aged 15 to 19, for many signifying the end of their education. Some 3 million girls aged 15 to 19 undergo unsafe abortions every year, and every week around 4,200 adolescent girls and young women in sub-Saharan Africa acquire HIV. In 2020, 6 in 7 adolescents aged between 15 and 19 years old acquiring HIV in the regions were girls. So with this data in mind, we would like to say that, like you at UNESCO, we are convinced that comprehensive sexuality education is a pathway to achieving gender equality. CSE not only reinforces healthy and positive values about bodies, puberty, relationships, sex, and family life, but it also helps to keep all children and young people safe from gender-based violence and abuse by teaching them about their bodies and how to change practices that lead girls to become pregnant before they are ready. CSE is an opportunity to facilitate really social-emotional learning. It is a way to improve self-esteem, change attitudes and harmful social norms, and build self-efficacy. The truth is that CSE provides adolescent girls and young women with life-saving skills to make decisions that are good for them and that are rooted in their realities. At UNESCO, we are working with countries around the world to help them prioritize the adoption and successful implementation of evidence-based, medically accurate, gender transformative, universally accessible, and not judgmental CSE. Our work on CSE takes many forms: high-level leadership, advocacy, capacity building, research and evidence generation, and the development of global normative guidelines, some example of which you can see on the slides here. Our motto is really to leave no one behind. That is why at UNESCO, we want to make sure that all students have equal opportunities to receive quality CSE. In 2021, we issued a new publication that you can see in the middle here on the screen, which is called The Journey Towards Comprehensive Sexuality Education. It's a global status report on CSE. And drawing on multiple data, the report shows that while in many settings, policies may be in place and progress is being made in delivering a range of relevant topics through school curricula, in many contexts, there is a lack of breadth of content, particularly on topics related to the needs and rights of LGBTIQ youth, young people living with disabilities, and other marginalized and stigmatized youth subgroups. To address these gaps, at UNESCO, we've been engaged since the beginning of this year in a new suite of work to advance knowledge and sharing and development of strategic information on LGBTIQ inclusive sexuality education. The aim of this project is to support ministries of education to develop CSC curricula that reflect LGBTIQ youth and needs and experiences to ensure that they are safe, seen, and included like all other learners. In 2023, we will engage in a new piece of research with our partners on CSC and disabilities with the same aim of ensuring greater representation of disabled learners in CSC school-based programs. But today we are gathered here to celebrate first and foremost the great work that all GHE teacher fellows do every day in your schools to support the girls and young women you serve. So at UNESCO, providing support to the teaching community is at the heart of our work as well. When it comes to CSC, we know that well-trained and supported teachers play a key role in the delivery of high-quality CSC. We need clear school policies and curricula to support teachers, including institutionalized pre- and in-service teacher training and support from the school management. We have recently developed an online toolkit that you can see here on screen, intended to help and design a new program or review an existing program on CSC. And this online toolkit includes a specific section on CSC teacher training, which illustrates who should be teaching CSC. It also explains pre-service and in-service training on CSC. It discusses online professional development in CSC. And it also outlines the challenges to teacher training and details how to do teacher assessments. So if you'd like to learn more about this toolkit, I have provided you here on screen with the link to the web page. Voila, so thank you so much for your kind attention. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sylvain. It has been a pleasure collaborating with you as well. And yes, we saw a question in the chat. If you could also pop that link into the chat so that our
Sure.
attendees see that, that would be awesome.
Thank you.
So in a minute, I'm actually going to go ahead and share my screen as well. But before that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about why we're here and talk a little bit about feminine and feminist leadership. So at Girls Health Ed, we're actually kind of dual impact. So not only are we impacting the girls and young women themselves with tools to take care of themselves and love themselves, but we also have an impact on our teaching fellows whom you're going to hear from today. And you know, our mission, in addition to, you know, advancing gender equality and improving health outcomes, is also to cultivate the next generation of female leaders. And so I want to talk about that a little bit today, because through our Teaching Fellow program, that's one key way that we go about achieving our mission. And so, you know, what I'm about to say might come across as gender stereotyping, but if you know me by now, you know that that's not my intention at all. I, you know, just want to talk a little bit about feminine and feminist leadership. So since the Industrial Revolution, and possibly even before the Industrial Revolution, the way that we defined workplace success was by productivity. And, you know, employees were treated as just that, employees who were disposable and who were only seen, you know, equated with their productivity, with their ability to produce. And this whole attitude is rooted in very patriarchal and very masculinist approaches to leadership and to organizational success and development. And so at Girls Health Ed, by you know, helping to cultivate the next generation of female leaders, we're trying to counter that way of thinking. And so with female leadership, with feminist leadership, what we're trying to do is essentially create a new paradigm around leadership, one that isn't just associated with productivity and what you're able to produce, but also one that's associated with nurturing and self-care and compassion. So here at Girls Health Ed, I'll be fully transparent and say that a lot of us on the team have had some significant personal and professional challenges this year. And that's, you know, I'll just give an example. In the middle of my summer, I got COVID and I was out for about 3 weeks. It was a miserable experience. But, you know, through all of that, we were able to persevere. And I think the reason that we were able to persevere and get the results, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, that we have been able to attain, is because of our new model of leadership, which is rooted in self-care. Instead of, this old traditional patriarchal 40 hours a week, produce as much as you can and then go home, our new model is about taking care of yourself and having compassion for the people that you work with, and recognizing that, because I know that all of you here are students, are working multiple jobs, are parents, grandparents, whatever your other responsibilities are, you're juggling all of that in addition to being teaching fellows, and you're volunteers in the community, and you're making a difference in your community. And so I want to quickly acknowledge that all of you are here in addition to the various other responsibilities that you're juggling. And so when we keep that in mind and have this approach of seeing our the people that we're working with not just as employees, but human beings first, that I think sets us up for much more success in the workplace and in the results that we want to achieve. That's always the approach that we've taken in Girls Health Ed, because if we're going to be teaching other girls to love themselves and take care of themselves, then we can't fall into the trap of not practicing what we preach. And so that's always been my MO as the executive director of Girls Health Ed, that self-care comes first, and self-care is a critical part of the work that we do. And CSE, as comprehensive sexuality education, self-care is at the root of that. By teaching girls to love themselves and take care of themselves, we're empowering them to achieve great things. And as I'm sure many of you know, a country's economic well-being is directly tied to the health and well-being and the education of its girls and young women. And let's take COVID as an example. The countries and the regions in the world that have had the best outcomes in terms of COVID, not a coincidence, they've all had female leaders. So female leadership and feminine leadership and feminist leadership, I think, is something we all want to consider adopting in our workplaces, and something that we want to perpetuate to the next generation as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and share our amazing accomplishments from the year. And this is all largely thanks to our teaching fellows, who are the bread and butter behind the work that we do. So first off, I just wanted to wish Girls Health Ed a very happy 10-year birthday. So I believe either today or yesterday marks the 10-year anniversary of Girls Health Ed. And in these 10 years, we have seen, we've had such incredible success with our programs and with the impact that we've been able to have on our girls and young women. And as you can see on the screen, this is a look at our first 10 years. In the year 2022, we've reached 1,500 girls and young women across all of our program locations. This is the highest number that we've reached in 1 year. And this is all against the backdrop of personal and professional struggles, COVID, still feeling the economic impacts of COVID, and our schools still feeling the effects of COVID. So a reminder that we're working with those schools and community centers that are already the most underserved and the most under-resourced. And with that in mind, the effects of COVID have impacted all of us, of course, but the target population that we're trying to reach with our programs is the one that has also been most greatly affected by COVID. So this is our, we're very proud of these numbers. It's the, like I said, largest number in a single year of girls and young women we've been able to reach, bringing us to a total of about 9,000 girls and young women over the course of 10 years. We have started our newest chapter in Miami, Florida. We have with us our Miami, many of our Miami teaching fellows, and we have a community center director from Miami as well, and we'll be hearing from them in a bit. We also have with us one of our outreach interns who was instrumental in starting our newest chapter in Miami. And to date, this is now, even though it's our newest chapter, it's one of our most thriving chapters. We've been also able to send some more self-care to our girls and young women. So through a partnership with another organization called You From Me, which is all about reducing the waste of consumer products, we've received donations of new beauty care products and other self-care products. So whether that be makeup, whether that be toothpaste and toothbrush, whether that be nail polish, whether it be deodorant, sunscreen, all of the things that our girls and young women need, but also some of the things that they might want and that help them look their best and feel their best about themselves. We have been able to actually send those as self-care goodie bags to our girls and young women. And we recently had our first shipment to Miami. And this is largely thanks to one of our teaching fellows who you'll be hearing about in a little bit. We've been very significantly moving the needle on menstrual health. So as you know, we've had a long partnership with Pandemic Periods. And last year we had our first webinar with them in honor of Menstrual Health Day. We were able to repeat that, and we did an awesome webinar on menstrual health in times of crisis. And along with that, we wrote a thought leadership article on who decides what is and is not a crisis. And then in the latter half of the year, we've done a fireside chat in conjunction with our colleagues at Pandemic Periods, featuring 20 speakers from across 15 different countries. So one fireside chat in October was all about menstrual health activism and the future of menstrual health. In November, we explored the intersection of menstrual health and gender-based violence. And in December, we looked at the intersection between menstrual health and universal health coverage. And then here's a picture of me, because this year we have actually now been able to travel and meet with some of our colleagues in person after a couple of years. And here's me with Jenny Martin, who's the founder and director of Pandemic Periods. We've had some incredible partnerships with UNESCO. So we just heard from Sylvain, who's part of UNESCO. Girls Health Ed for the past couple of years has been on the Global Partnership Forum for Comprehensive Sexuality Education. And this year we had our first virtual symposium all about everything relating to CSE. Girls Health Ed was proud to be on the planning committee for that, and we, in addition, moderated some sessions and participated in the creative aspects of the session. So for those of you who don't know, I wrote my first poetry book last year, a portion of the proceeds of which go to Girls Health Ed, and I had the opportunity to share some of my poems at the summit as part of the creative sessions. I, in addition, moderated some sessions and facilitated some sessions, and then had the opportunity to actually travel to Paris to meet with some of our colleagues at the Division of Education for Health and Wellbeing at UNESCO and talk about some of our plans for our future collaboration. We've had the opportunity to participate in high-level advocacy for CSE. So I had the chance to attend the United Nations General Assembly, which took place in September. The key event there was the Transforming Education Summit. And so I had a chance to meet with some of our colleagues at the United Nations Population Fund and with the representative from Netherlands, who's a major advocate for CSE. I also had the opportunity, unfortunately, this wasn't in person, this was virtual, but to actually advocate for CSE on Capitol Hill. So thanks to our partnership with CPAC, which is a part of CICUS, the Council on Sex Education, we were actually able to talk to staff members from the offices of Congress people and senators. So I had the chance to speak with members from the offices of Representative Carolyn Maloney, Representative Bonnie Coleman, and Senator Bob Menendez, and advocate for the importance of CSE in schools and community centers. We've gotten some awesome publicity this year. So I had the chance to talk to Manhattan Community Board 8's Social Justice Committee. So Manhattan Community Board is actually, Board 8 is actually represents the community where I live, which is the Upper East Side in Manhattan. And as you know, this has a reputation of being a very upscale and well-off neighborhood, but unfortunately issues around domestic violence and gender-based violence don't discriminate, and it affects even people living in my neighborhood. And so I had the opportunity to speak to the Committee on Social Justice about issues around gender-based violence and intimate partner violence, and the work that Girls Health Ed is doing in schools and community centers to break the cycle of violence. I got to be on a podcast with Nikki Trott, which is called Going Conscious, and I spoke about the work that Girls Health Ed does. I've also had the opportunity to be interviewed about my work for several books. So author Maggie Smith is working on a book all about female leadership, and same with author Amanda McKinney. who is working on a book about building the life of your dreams. And she interviewed a lot of entrepreneurs and people who are doing that for themselves. And so I spoke about Girls Health Ed. And then we also had a partnership this year with Two Scoops of Style, which is actually a fashion blog, which is also mission aligned with us in terms of helping girls and women look and feel their best. But they've also been some of our greatest supporters. And Giving Tuesday, they gave a special shout out to us about supporting the organization. I've had the chance to join the boards and advisory councils and committees of several other mission aligned organizations. So the PAD Project is an amazing organization that's equipping people who menstruate with menstrual health products. And I've had the opportunity to join their advisory council this year. And so I've attended several of the meetings, particularly related to their US and international programs. I've joined the board of the Hewitt School, which is my high school alma mater. It's an all-girls school in Manhattan, and mission aligned in terms of building up strong women leaders. And through that, I actually had the opportunity to meet Dr. Carol Gilligan, who's one of the foremost psychologists doing research on gender. I'm also on the committee for the Yale Women's Mental Health Conference, Yale being another one of my alma maters. And they have a conference all about women's mental health that takes place in April. And then I am also on the board of the Indie Author Legacy Awards, which primarily works to give a voice to authors of color who are really trailblazers in their field and passionate and mission aligned in the work that they're doing. So there's a lot of overlap with Girls Health Ed's work. We also welcomed our newest board member to our board, Miss Angela Nguku, who I'll give a shout out to her, got married last week. And she is the deputy director of White Ribbon Alliance. She's actually our first international board member. So we're very happy to have her on board and helping to establish our programs in Kenya and internationally. And then, of course, our work in terms of cultivating the next generation of women leaders. So this year has been an incredible one for our teaching fellows. We've built up our teaching fellow program quite a bit, and you'll be hearing from our teaching fellows in a little bit, but they have really stepped up and taken on major leadership roles within the organization, whether that be helping with fundraising or helping with other aspects of our programs that are not already embedded into the curriculum, giving ideas and suggestions for how we can actually improve our programs and our offerings to the girls. We also did a social media series where we highlighted our teaching fellow alumni and gave them a chance to talk about how the Girls Health Ed program has affected them in their current careers. And so you'll see their words on screen here. You can also find this on our social media at Girls Health Ed. And so now I'd like to share a video from one of our community center partners who couldn't be here today, but shared a video with his testimonial of how Girls Health Ed has impacted the girls and young women he works with.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kaven Davis. I am the executive director of Hannah's Place NOLA. We are a nonprofit K-12 after school and summer program. We recently had the opportunity to work with Girls Health this summer and previous summers. Girls Health has had a tremendous impact on our young ladies, simply because it teaches them the importance of hygiene, nutrition, self-awareness, and self-esteem. Gabby, our instructor, did a phenomenal job with our students. It carried over to our fall program, and I'm sure it's going to carry over to our spring program. Girls Health is the Girls Health program is very, very important, simply because it teaches young ladies to do what's right for themselves. It starts with yourself. It starts with self-confidence. It starts with self-esteem. And Girls Health definitely help enhance our girls' self-esteem. I'm looking forward to working with Gabby again and the entire Girls Health team. And so I'm excited for what we have in the future as a partnership. And I'm looking forward to it. I would highly recommend that everyone seeks out the program to ensure the young ladies in their program are getting everything that they need to be successful. Thank you.
All right. And now with that, I would like to turn it over to our live participants. Again, we're so excited to have you here, our teaching fellows and our school and community center partners. It is because of you that we're able to do the work that we do and that we're able to make a difference and change the world for the better. So I would like to first introduce Nicole Burke from Lotus House in Miami, Florida. She's one of our community center partners in Miami. And Nicole, I'd like to give you a few minutes to talk about your experience with Girls Health Ed and the impact that it's had.
Thank you so very much. And I would like to say good afternoon and thank you for having me to log on and talk about it. And happy birthday to the girls for your 10 years. It has definitely made a great impact on our ladies. We are a homeless shelter that serves only women and children. And having our young girls sit and just get all of the experiences from your young girls has really moved them. A lot of our girls come with a lot of trauma, and we are a trauma-informed based center. So we do try to put as much information and resources out there for them. And having the young girls come from the health group and speak to our girls and just share activities and information with them has really, really gave a big impact. Our ladies here, they come and go very quickly. So once we try to make sure that we get them the information as fast as we can so that no one is missed out. But the information and the resources that you have left behind for them has made a tremendous, tremendous impact on them. And they miss you guys. They really miss you guys. We've had a few of them have moved out already, and we are preparing now for the holiday season. So we try to keep things very family oriented here. We have the Christmas trees and, everything is all out. So we try to keep their minds very occupied and let them know that we still care. There's still people out there that care, just like your group. And they are so grateful for you guys. And so am I. And I would just like to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We do have 263 children here, and the majority of them are females. So we use a lot of the resources for the menstrual and, women's care, hygiene, which is so important that you really talk to the girls about. They do practice it. They try the best that they can, and they do practice it. So I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you again, and happy birthday to the girls.
Thank you so much, Nicole. It has been a pleasure working with you. And for our first workshop site in Miami, we couldn't have asked for a better experience. I know that we'll definitely be back come the fall or come the spring.
Come the spring. Thank you. We'll be waiting for you guys. I have some new faces and, the word spreads. So they would definitely be ready for you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great. So now I would like to introduce our veteran teaching fellows, so our experienced teaching fellows who have been doing this work for several years now, and hear remarks from them. So I'd like to start off with Ms. Gianna Yena, who's one of our New York City teaching fellows and actually our New York City chapter leader. And Gianna has really gone above and beyond this year. It's actually because of her that we were able to do the self-care goodie bags for the girls. And so she's always just going above and beyond in terms of what she's bringing to the programs. And Gianna, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. This is my third year with Girls Health Ed and my friendship with Pavita. And I think that I can't speak any more positively about Girls Health Ed than I do. And it was so nice to hear from you, Nicole, and hear about the progress that we're making and the people that we're impacting. Girls Health Ed does wonderful things for feminine leadership. And it's something that really means a lot to me, empowering young women and older women too. And I think that it's something that means a lot to me because I have female leaders in Pavita and in my personal job and in my family. And I think that by encouraging women and young girls to build their own confidence, to take their own power with their relationships, with their jobs, with their health, I think that the world could be a much better place. And I think that I've seen a lot of girls come back with a lot of positive experiences, and I hope that it helps their own lives and their confidence. And it's just one of the most pleasant experiences I've ever had, and I love to continue this work and our work with You From Me and in donating the self-care products has had a positive impact, which is something so great to hear, and I hope to continue it. And I hope to just bring more in the next year.
Thank you so much, Gianna. And it's been a pleasure working with you as well. And here's to many more years. Next, I'd like to introduce Gabby Sheets, who's been a teaching fellow in the New Orleans region. And she's been doing incredible work, as we heard from Anna's place in the New Orleans region. So Gabby, over to you.
There we go. Hi, everyone. I wanted to talk about my work at Anna's Place and kind of share a story about how the girls have kind of been teaching me. So whenever I first started working for Girls Health in 2020 and met Anna's Place in 2021, I had my hair dyed bright purple and I have several tattoos. So whenever I went in to Anna's Place, I made sure to try and keep my hair covered and keep my tattoos covered, and try and present myself very professionally. And then I started to realize that the girls really liked my purple hair. And whenever they caught a glimpse of the tattoo, they, wanted to ask me questions about it. And it seemed that, having these kind of external pieces of my personality really made the girls feel more comfortable with me and felt like they could kind of relate to me a little bit more. And so, now whenever I go in, I feel free to wear my hair however I want or wear short sleeves. And still, conduct myself professionally and have that professional respect, but still being myself. So I think that, not only are we providing, a lot of education, health education to these girls, but I think that we have to stop and kind of recognize how much they're also providing to us and how much they're teaching us. So I really appreciate Girls Health Ed giving me the opportunity to be in this position and learn such important lessons. Thank you.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that powerful story, Gabby. And I think you're absolutely right. And this is something that I neglected to mention in my opening, but I think a huge part of feminine and feminist leadership is enabling a space where everyone is able to bring their full selves into work. There's a quote that I really love: "Go not where you're tolerated, go where you're celebrated." And that's exactly the environment that I, as an executive director and as a leader, I'm trying to cultivate for everybody who works with Girls Health Ed. And I think it's something that we should, work towards overall, like just in life, because, again, first and foremost, people are not employees. People are human beings. People are human beings with multiple responsibilities. People are human beings with multiple interests. People are human beings with multiple life experiences, multiple traumas, all of which are informing the way that they operate. And if you really create that safe space, that psychological safety for them to be able to bring their whole selves into work and recognize the way in which their previous experiences and their various categories of identity and interests influence the way that they do their work, again, I believe that that can set us up for much greater success in the workplace, which then translates to the greater world. So thank you so much for that, Gabby. Next, I'd like to introduce Ashna Agarwal, who is one of our amazing New York City teaching fellows. And Ashna has also gone above and beyond in her work. She's been one of our greatest advocates for Girls Health Ed this year, and has also brought us in some significant fundraising dollars this year. So we're very thankful for her dedication and passion. So Ashna, please, over to you.
Thank you so much, Babitha. I really wanted to start by saying thank you for your continued support and mentorship. I really feel like my experience with Girls Health Ed as a teaching fellow, like as a staff member, has taught me how to demand respect in my future careers, like in a classroom, how to advocate for myself. And in addition to that, Girls Health Ed inspires me daily. And all the teaching fellows and Babitha are what makes us such a warm community centered around making the changes that we want to see in the world. I am who I am today because of the people who have stepped into my life and filled a role that health and sexuality education should have. And I'm lucky to have that community. But Girls Health Ed is so important because it recognizes that not everybody has that community or access to resources. And we're helping to build a generation of women who are empowered with information that they'll be vulnerable without. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashna. So now that we've heard from our veteran teaching fellows, I'd like to introduce our new teaching fellows, almost all of whom are from Miami, which is our newest chapter. And again, this chapter is doing extremely well. I'm amazed and proud to see how much you all have stepped up and with so much enthusiasm. And although Miami is the newest chapter, I would say that it's one of our most thriving chapters. So really excited to introduce our Miami teaching fellows. So first, I'd like to introduce Sophia.
Hi, everyone. I'd like to start off by expressing my gratitude for the teaching fellows I've worked with during my time at Girls Health Ed. I cannot thank them enough for their continued support, friendship, and of course, the laughs we've shared. I'd also like to thank Babitha, who has been such an incredible mentor. She offers her wisdom and kindness at every step of the way, and I'm so grateful for that. Her amazing work does continue to inspire me to serve, educate, and advocate every single day. In this life, I do strive to use my education and talents to leave the world in a better condition than I found it. Now, with that being said, it's incredibly rewarding to use education as a means of empowering young women to take charge of their bodies, minds, and identities in a world that constantly challenges our autonomy. And I'm extraordinarily grateful to have met such intelligent and resilient young women throughout my time at GHE. I'm thrilled that I'm able to take an active role in delivering the comprehensive health and sexuality education that every young woman deserves to have, no matter their background. Now, thank you to all of those that have helped to realize Girls Health Ed's mission. We couldn't have done it without your unwavering support.
Thank you so much. What beautiful sentiments, Sophia, and very grateful for all of your work. Next, I'd like to introduce Ileana.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us and for being here. I'm so excited to celebrate, and I was so happy to hear all of the great things you all had to say. I really think that this has been a beautiful experience because it really allowed us to foster health awareness, both physical health and mental health, which, the need for mental health awareness was really highlighted after the pandemic. This experience has also helped us foster the importance of community health in Miami. We're allowing these young girls to learn about their health, and we're empowering them to be confident and love themselves. And in this process, we also help them make friends. I feel like I've made new friends with the girls and also with the teaching fellows and with Pavita, and meeting all of you here today. I feel like we're building strong connections that are important for leadership in the future. And I also want to say that this experience has helped me. I'm currently in the process of getting my master's in public health, and this was a perfect way to implement what I've learned about health education and health communication. And I feel like this has helped me be a better student and more professional. And I also learned from the girls because we all shared memorable stories and experiences throughout our sessions. I look forward to continuing to work with Girls Health Ed and building a more equitable future for women in our society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ileana. Next, I'd like to introduce Zanaya.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Favita, for everything you've done for us. It's been such a great time. I primarily volunteered over the summer, and it's just been, it was a great, absolutely such a great experience. And so I'll kind of touch on some of the memories that we've had. I think some of my favorite experiences is the fact that in this, I think it was such a representative of the experience of what it's like being a woman, in the sense of like, okay, like I primarily was a teaching fellow with Carolina and Ileana, and we were doing everything. We were doing everything like in the teaching session. Not only we're talking to young women, older ladies, we're talking to they were fantastic in the sense that they were talking to children and everything, like if there's like, oh, okay, like the kids or anything, they're getting upset or whatever, they just absolutely take care of them. And I think that just that holistic experience was just so welcoming and such like a big sister kind of moment. And I think that really just kind of encaptures everything this is about, that that not only we're delivering information, but I mean, it's in delivering information about girls and young women's health. But I mean, it's not in a way that it's supposed to be just lecture and textbook. It's like, hey, we're all in this together. And it's so nice, especially as a woman of color, that it's so nice to see like, hey, like I'm talking to, these young girls who look like me and everything, and say, hey, like, you guys are, this is where you're at in life. We'll give you this very helpful information and everything. And then hopefully they will use it and everything to the best of their abilities and create a better future and just spread that information far and wide. And so it's been such a wonderful experience, especially working with them. And yeah, the Miami chapter has been fantastic.
Thank you so much, Zanaya. And finally, I'd like to introduce Carolina.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carolina. I would like to say that I'm extremely grateful for all the experiences and opportunities that Girls Health Ed has bestowed upon me. It's been a pleasure being mentored and like seeing Kavita work and like spread her knowledge, and her passion for this organization has been very inspiring. And obviously at the Miami chapter, I am really grateful that Lotus House actually like allows us to teach and spread our knowledge among with the other girls that are there. And apologize for that. And it's been amazing, like seeing these girls like light up their eyes and like being so happy to like learn about these experiences, especially when they actually teach us not only, so sorry again, about their experiences. And it's been very lovely like hearing their experiences and actually having like open discussions. I've definitely learned a lot in Girls Health Ed, not only through my teachings and like also and like from Pavita, but also from my fellow teaching fellows, like my other colleagues. They've been very amazing and very inspiring and very knowledgeable. And I look forward to like working with them for another time. And yeah, thank you so much for everything. And I'm truly grateful.
Thank you so much, Carolina. Yeah, I greatly appreciate all of the shout outs that I've been getting, but just know that the teaching fellows are really the ones who make this work happen. They're the ones who are on the ground and working with the girls and young women, and really the ones changing lives. So again, major shout out to all of you. Next, I'd like to introduce, now moving from our US programs to our Kenya programs, I'd like to introduce teaching fellow Joan. She has recently started with Girls Health Ed and has done an incredible job in terms of the impact that she's having on the girls, and just she sent me some videos of them expressing their gratitude for the education that we're offering them, as well as the products. So Joan, I'll hand it over to you to speak about your experiences.
Good afternoon, your time. It's night here. Pleasure seeing you guys. Pavita, thank you for the opportunity together with your previous teacher, that is Diana, who introduced me to this thing. We're happy. I'm happy helping girls particularly. And I must say in Africa sometimes, and Kenya specifically, after the pandemic, things were so tough. And some parents would not manage to help the girls anyway. And when I spoke to them for the first time, most of them were like, I don't understand. I don't tell my mother, where do you get money to buy sanitary pads? They say there's some balances when they get from change, balances from being sent to the shop, they steal some money because they have this stigma a little bit in terms of telling their parents. It's a shame to them. So we try to speak to them, encourage them, and tell them we are here to help and we'll help where we can. And we pray that when we empower you, when you grow up also play the same role. So I think having heard from them with their issues, their problems, their fears, their joys also, when they get the message, they're like, we're going to be mothers one day and this was going to be fertilized. I'm like, okay, fine. So now you know. So we've taught them a lot about the menstrual health, the female health in general, sexual health a little bit, so that I just understand, if they understand what is happening in future, could be a baby if you play around. Yeah, so I think I'm grateful as a person, been wanting to work with the NGOs just to help, but I never took an initiative. So I think this one got me, and I think I'm grateful to you and your entire team, and happy birthday to the Girls Health Ed, and may God bless you. God bless the whole progress that you have, the plans, etc., for empowering women, teaching them, educating them, and making them a better people than what they were before. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joan, for the work that you do and for sharing those stories with us. It reminds me of a story from actually our US programs that I often repeat. So if you've already heard this, apologies, but I think this is really impactful, right? So we had a community center in Washington, DC, and we were told that a group of boys was bullying a group of girls because they had had their periods. And
exactly.
Yeah, the girls who had participated in our programs were actually then able to step in and educate the boys and be like, hey, stop bullying us. If it wasn't for our periods, you wouldn't be here. So, so that just goes to show that we're having an impact not only on girls and young women themselves, but we're actually giving them the tools to communicate what they're learning with their classmates, with their families, with their community members, and thereby contributing to healthier school environments and healthier communities. And so that's why, I mean, it really makes a difference when we provide comprehensive health and sexuality education, because, you know, again, not only are we improving individual health outcomes, but we're also making a change in terms of the social and cultural narratives that perpetuate gender inequality. So thank you for sharing that story. Next, I'm excited to introduce our interns, who have been a major support to me in terms of helping our programs running, helping all the trains run on time, if you will. So first, I'd like to start off by introducing one of my outreach interns, Anurag Hura. Anurag started with Girls Health Ed this year. He's also a bit of an anomaly here, being the only male, in addition to Sylvain, who we saw earlier. But this just goes to show that Girls Health Ed is an issue that affects not only girls and young women, but everybody. And Anurag has really put his heart and soul into our programs and really helping to reach more girls and young women. And it is almost solely because of him that we now have a chapter in Miami. So wanted to express my gratitude for that. So Anurag, over to you.
Thank you for the kind words, Bavita. Yeah, so as Bavita mentioned, I heard about GHE through Bavita. It's been a good experience. And so I was an outreach intern this year and helped establish the Miami chapter. And yeah, just attending and just listening to what the Miami teaching fellows, it's great to hear that's a thriving chapter. And so I actually have a personal connection to the area. My sister and nephew live in South Florida, and so I'd visit often. And so, you know, while I was just traveling around South Florida, I could clearly see the issues that are happening in the low income areas of South Florida. And so then I just like, you know, this is a good initiative to take to become outreach to Miami. And so we reached out to the University of Miami. We got really good feedback. And so, yeah, it's established now. And so I think overall, GHE has been great for empowering young girls and women with education to make informed decisions about their health and prevent things such as teen pregnancy and becoming more financially literate. And overall, it's had an impact on me in terms of not just empowering girls and young women, but just people in general. So I think, just empowering people in general, you have more healthy and productive society. And it has like a domino effect with the economy as well. So if you have a healthy society, you have a productive society. And so I'm happy to have made an impact on establishing the Miami chapter. And yeah, thank you again.
Thank you so much, Anurag. And yes, thank you for the recognition that a healthy society is a productive society. But again, productivity doesn't define us, but when we do take care of ourselves, we can often achieve much greater results than if we didn't. And then last but not least, I would like to recognize our star intern, Alexis Travers. So Alexis has been working with us for 2 years now, and again, really has put her heart and soul into her work and has gone above and beyond. She's worked with us as a communications intern, as an outreach intern. She has helped us in terms of establishing our teaching fellow program. So she created a teaching fellow manual that we're now able to share with our teaching fellows. Again, she has also been juggling a lot in terms of being a student and working job. She actually also works with sexual assault survivors on her campus. And in the midst of all of that has done incredible work for GHE, and I couldn't be more grateful for her support because she has really represented the organization extremely well and has been a great support to me, helping me realize that I'm not alone in running the ship. So Alexis, over to you, please.
Thank you so much for those kind words. I really appreciate that. Sorry, there's a little bit of construction going on in my house, if you can hear it, but I'm just extremely grateful that I found Girls Health Ed, and I've had the opportunity to learn from Pavita and about the impact of comprehensive sex education around the US and in other countries. And I also want to thank Pavita because of her passion, and her passion and kindness is just unmatched, and she's been extremely kind to me. I've been dealing with some stuff and she's just been amazing. And I wanted to say that I'm extremely passionate about this mission and that I've learned a lot from the curriculum, and it's something that I wish that I had as a young girl. Because I didn't necessarily feel that I had the tools to control everything that was happening around me. And I want to empower other young women to be able to advocate for themselves. And I've also found that I'm now able to insert myself in conversations that I might not have been able to before. I mean, I live on a college campus and there's a lot of talk about sexual reproductive rights, and also just experiences that I've heard through my job, and I'm able to advocate for others, which is something that I'm really, really passionate about, and I'm just grateful that Girls Health Ed has given me the skills to do so. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Alexis, for your incredibly kind words and for all of the work that you've done for us and that you're continuing to do for girls and young women everywhere. So yeah, this was our program. Thank you so much, first of all, to all of our teaching fellows for being here, to Nicole, to our school and community center partners, to all of you who are in the audience watching. Everything that we've been able to accomplish has been because of your support, and we couldn't be more grateful. So thank you so much for supporting us, for your enthusiasm. And just know that, the work that our teaching fellows are doing, this is just the beginning. We have to keep going, and just recognizing that we are absolutely making a difference, and we're doing our small part to make the world a better place. And it starts with us. So thank you again so much to all of you for attending, to all of our teaching fellows for the work that you do on a daily basis. And I'm looking forward to accomplishing many more amazing things in the new year. And I wish you all an incredible holiday season and a happy new year. And as always, if you ever want to reach out, you know where to find me on social media or via email. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.
Thank you so much, Pavita.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pavita.
Thank you, Bavita. Happy holidays to you.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays.
Happy holidays. Bye.
Bye.